How do we live an effective life? You know, it's like everybody is living, right? But that is an illusion. Not everybody is living. Everybody is existing, but not everybody is living. Let me say that again. Everybody is alive, everybody is existing, but not everybody is living. What is an effective life? How do we learn to live? But not just to live, but how do we learn to live effectively? Let's ask ourselves that question. Let me ask you that question. What is an effective life? And how have you been living? Are you sure? Are you absolutely sure before God that you have been living an effective life? Are you absolutely sure that you have been living the best possible life for you? Are you really sure about that? Are you sure that your life has been laser effective? So how do we learn to live an effective life? And by the way, what is an effective life? Is living not just about living? Is living not just like everybody else? No, sir. Not more than 10% of the world have learned to live an effective life. Not more than 10% of our world. So what are over 90% of the world been doing with their lives? Well, don't ask me. Most people have been wasting life. Others have been spending life. And only few have been living. Let me tell you, actually, as a matter of fact, what 90% of the world have been doing with their life. 90% of the world have only been doing one thing. They have been trying to make a living. And whenever you are trying to make a living, whenever you are trying to make something, you never really make it. You are trying. Because while you are in the process of trying, you are struggling too. While you are struggling, you are not really living. When you are trying to make a living, it means you are trying. You are struggling. You are struggling to make a living. You are trying. So you are not really living. You don't have time to live yet because you only have time to struggle. My God, help us. 90% of our world has only been busy struggling, trying to make a living. Some people say it differently. Let me say it in a more direct manner. Most of the world, they've not really been living. 90% of people in our world, they don't know what it means to live. You know what they know to do? What they know to do? What they know to do is just trying to survive. It doesn't matter if they have money or not. It doesn't matter if they have resources or not. It's just about knowledge. And it's just about, being skillful about life. We need to learn to master life. Life is a science that only few have mastered. Life is a science that only few have come to understand. And for you to live an effective life, you must understand the essence and the secret of life. Your life must never be about survival anymore. Your life must not be about surviving anymore. You must stop trying to survive and start trying to live and start to begin to live. You must start to begin to live. You must start living. You must begin to live. You must begin to live and stop trying to make a living. You must stop trying to make a living and begin to live. Stop trying to make a living and begin to live. You must stop trying to survive and begin to live. And that is what I want to hand over to you today. How do you live an effective life? And what is an effective life? So underline the word, or remember the core of the word of this statement that I'm talking about. The subject is effective. So the thing is not, the big thing is not about life per se, because everybody has life. Everyone has life, but not just about having life. Even animals have life. Your dog has a life. So it's not the big deal is not about having life, but the big deal is learning to live it effectively. So we're talking about effective living. Which means we are not talking about a busy life. We are talking about effective life. You see, many people, most people, you know the kind of life they live? A busy life. But busy life does not mean effective life, you see. Somebody was telling me yesterday, this is an African proverb. It's a lady in England, and she was telling me what her mother told her. It's making me to laugh even before I say it. She was having some problem and challenges with her husband because her husband is jobless. And so the mother said, it is when a man is jobless that it becomes violent. Which makes sense. It is a husband that is jobless that is violent, because he doesn't have anything to do, so he becomes violent. Well, what I'm about to say is that having something to do, having a job, or being busy does not mean living. Having a job, that is being busy. So that is what the woman was telling the daughter, that the key to a happy married life is to get the husband to get busy. Get your husband busy. Make sure your husband is busy. Make sure he goes out every morning and comes back to every day. Make sure he goes to work. Just he has to get busy. If he is busy, then you will have a life. That is the philosophy of so many families. If you could get busy, if you guys have something to do, just get busy, then you have life. They equate busyness, being busy, to being effective. They equate being busy to living life. They equate effective living into being busy, They equate effective living to being busy. I'm sorry. I am sorry. It doesn't follow, my dear. It doesn't follow. And as a matter of fact, if you are just living a busy life, most likely you are not living an effective life. Most likely you are not living an effective life, because you are living a busy life. You don't have time to live. When you are busy with something, when you are just busy running after something, chasing something, you don't really have the time to enjoy in the process. It's just like saying you are eating while you are running. You are running 100 meters and then you are eating at the same time. You are running 100 meters and sprint and running. You will not enjoy the process, you see. So being busy does not equate living an effective life. Being busy doesn't mean living an effective life. So for you to really live an effective life, you need to know more than just being busy, okay? All right. So we are talking about how to live an effective life. We are not talking about busy life. We are not talking about a full life. Some people, I've been to a few funerals in my life, in my lifetime. And, most people that people regard to have lived a good life, they say, well, he lived a full life. He lived a full life. They said that guy lived a full life. He lived a full life. Well, the fact that he lived a full life, does that equate the fact that he lived an effective life? And sometimes we think, well, maybe the life was not so rosy, but it was a full life. And we think that's at least not bad. It's bad. It's better than most people's lives. So not bad. He lived a full life. But we're not just talking about living a full life. You could live a full life, but a miserable life. You could live a full life, but still not effective. And an effective life is what we're talking about today. So we're not talking about a fast life. Some people just live a fast life and they run after everything. They run after all kind of mirage, run after illusions, run after deceptions. They run the rat race and win the championship in it. But winning a championship in the rat race of life is not an effective life. So you could become a champion running the rat race. That doesn't make you live an effective life. In fact, as a matter of fact, you could even live a dynamic life, but still not live an effective life. Because there are people that are effective. There are people that are not effective, so that are dynamic. But being dynamic alone, being a dynamic, all-action kind of person, and doing up and down, just going to making things happen, that doesn't really mean you live an effective life, all right? But the most popular life that people talk about these days, and all the time, people have always been talking about this. They say he lived a colorful life. And for some time, I've thought maybe that's the height of life, for you to live a colorful life. You see all of it. You see the good and the bad, and you just enjoy everything. You just take everything as it comes. And they say, oh, he lived a colorful life. His life was not boring. Yeah, maybe it was not boring, but was it effective? Maybe it was not boring, but was it effective, my dear? Was it effective? So that's what we're talking about. We need somebody that will live an effective life, and we need you, and we want to teach you how to live an effective life. So, how do we live an effective life? Number one, an effective life is not determined by the length of your life. It's not determined by how long you live. It's not the duration of your life that determines how effective your life will be. So the duration of your life does not determine its effectiveness. So some people could live only 10 years of life and they die at the age of 10, but they could have lived a more effective life dying at 10 than somebody who lived to be 70. But most of the time, when somebody dies at the age of 10 or 20 or 40 or 30, when somebody die young, we normally think that that's a tragedy. But is life about longevity or about effectiveness? We should answer ourselves that question. I would prefer to die young. But to have lived an effective life. I want to die young. If the option and if the choice is about living long or living effective, I would choose rather to live an effective life. Beautiful, 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 beautiful. That's what I desire. That is what I would have desired. But unfortunately, I think most people probably would desire to live a long life, even though it's going to be a miserable life. What's the good in it? And that's why I wrote this book. Where is the book? I wrote this book about my friend, my small road that died, right? He died not too old, but 50, 59, but not bad. So he died, maybe like 60 years old. And, somebody said he died young. But this guy lived a very effective life. He started at 15. lived a very, very effective life. His impact is marvelous, it's great. He left more impact than the other guys who have lived to be 70 and nobody even knows about them. So if you don't have this book, you might want to get it. It's on Amazon, it's on Okada, if you're in Africa, Okada books and all that. So, let's choose, let's think about it. Is it better to live an effective life and die at, let's say, 30, 40, like Jesus? Jesus lived an effective life because he died at the age of 33, but who wants to compare his own life with Jesus' life? Jesus lived an effective life, though short. So the longevity of life is not what you should be targeting, but we should be targeting the effectiveness of life. If you go on the internet today, you will discover that most people are more concerned about living the long life rather than the effective life. Most people are concerned about their health, how they are eating. They are concerned about sports. It's a big industry. It's $1 billion industry of sports, eating, dieting, veggie, and all kind of way to just make you to live long. As if living long equates living effectively. Does it equate it really? No, it doesn't. You see, the idea of life is for you to be able to maximize every day of your life so much that it will not matter anymore at what age you go. It will not matter what age you die. So that by the time you go, you will be ready. And you will be so happy. And, heaven will be rejoicing. And, you will be ready. And you will have left such a legacy. And that is much more better. That is much more preferable than to live here for so long and just cause problem for yourself, cause problem for others, be a tragedy to everybody, be a headache to your parents, to your family, to your friends, to your country, be a liability. Why should you live long and be a liability? Or why should you live long and just live in sickness and frustration and misery? Why don't you just learn rather to live an effective life? Why won't you just rather learn to live an effective life? So, what decides the effectiveness of your life? Number one, what decides the effectiveness of your life is your ability to convert your every minute or your every hour into some form of value. Your ability to convert your day, your hour into a value. So the power of conversion, what you do with your day decides the effectiveness of your life. What you do with your hour, the amount of value you're able to create. What is the value chain of your life that you are creating in every hour? What is every hour creating for you? What kind of value is every hour adding to you? That will decide the effectiveness of your life. So you must make sure that you are on top of your time, you are on top of your hour, you are on top of your day, you are on top of every minute of your life, so that you are not just on top of it, but you are on top of it to convert it. You are on top of it, converting it, intentionally converting it into either added value for yourself, or added value for others, or added value in producing some products and some goods that would add value to the world at large, or add value to the kingdom of God. So being on top of your day, being on top of your every minute, being on top of your every hour, and using that will create not just your value, it will create your net worth. It will create your value chain, and that will now decide the effectiveness of your life. So that is one of the most important factors in living an effective life. What you convert, either you are converting your time or you are not converting it. Either you are wasting your time or wasting your life, with wasting your time, which is equal to wasting your life, or you are spending your time, which is equal to wasting your life. Spending your life, or you are converting your life, investing your life into some form of value, into your own promised land. Most importantly, if you have been watching our videos and maybe you enjoy them, maybe you don't enjoy them, but still we need you to help us spread the word. And for that to happen, we only need you to take 5 little steps. Please help us spread this word by liking the video. Then, if you have not yet subscribed to our channel, please go ahead and subscribe to the channel. We also need you to press the notification button, and the way to do that is to click on the bell. You see the bell there? Click on it. Then, of course, leave your comments. Let's know what you're thinking about each video. And finally, we need you to go and share the word. Share this video on your Facebook timeline, on your Instagram, and every other platform that you have. All right? Let's win the world for Christ. Thank you so much. Peace.